I just want to thank Roberta for inviting me to come. I love coming out east of the Cascades. I love the wide open landscape. Every summer I teach a class called On the Road, and for one of our sort of journeys we come to this part of the world because I just love the bare bones of the earth and being able to see out to the horizon, and it's just special. So it's nice to be here. Boy, there's a lot of good work here. You made my task really difficult to have to choose. And I just want to say that I'm one judge. I hope you understand that it's a really subjective thing. Another judge would choose totally differently. I might even choose totally differently on a different day if I had a different mood or whatever. Even just coming in tonight, I'm looking at things and go, oh, that's just so good. I wish that was part of it. So if I didn't choose something that you have on the wall, please, don't feel like I didn't like what you did. There's just a lot of good work here. There are only a certain number of awards to give. The most important thing of all, I think, is that you just really love and enjoy making pictures and feel good about what you did. I think that's number one. So for everybody, and me too, just keep doing it. One reason I'm a photographer is I'm in love with the world. I love looking at pictures, so it's just a pleasure to come look at yours. And, wandering around looking at them today is special to see all these things. From the teamwork that it's just exciting for the future. There's a lot of good, distinctive, different things going on. So it was fun. But I guess I'll sort of wander around and talk about pictures and why I thought the first, second, third were the ones to choose. So anyway, maybe I'll start with the team. Is that good? All right. Again, like I was saying, it's exciting just to sort of see all the different things. And, I chose who, for me, as being the first place, because I just think the texture of the world is amazing in that photograph. I like that who is a question. So who's looking at who? Not only is the bark and the owl textured, but that world to the side sort of has a mystery to it. And one of the things I love about a lot of the pictures that I chose is sort of the mystery of that world, whether it's floating into darkness or the unknown. I thought, wow, that's really wonderfully strange, but engaging. I feel like I'm witnessing the owl as he's witnessing me, so I thought that captured really well. Is Jared here?
I don't think so.
Okay. Second place, Kipling Bowes. She here?
Yeah.
All right, congratulations. Really wonderful photograph. I like lots of different aspects of this. I think the color works beautifully. I like the shape within the square, but the fact that you extended it beyond just the edges of the frame and around to the whole edges of the piece itself. So I like sort of moving to those sort of sides and seeing that extended. But the clouds at the bottom, the truck at the top, all those things sort of play beautifully in the frame. Very nice. And for third, Raven Rollins. Person here? No. Again, mystery for me. It's titled Frame Within a Frame. But I think it sort of goes beyond that for me, because that frame that's sort of in the center is a two-dimensional piece of work, and yet I sort of feel like I can disappear into that almost black hole of the world, and sort of be absorbed into that frame. And that's sort of what attracted me to it. It almost has this swirl that's going to pull me in and keep me moving. into that photograph. But so many other good ones. I love the unknown person floating above that you can't see. If there is a person attached to that, you don't even know. But, I mean, there's just so many good color as well as subject photographs here, so it's hard to choose. So maybe I'll just keep it moving around and talk about different things. Should I take this with me here? Maybe. I think I can only go so far. Okay. This piece right here by Steve Antel.
Yes, he's here.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's striking right away this abstract quality to me. I like to photograph in quarries. It feels like sort of quarried stone to me. My best friend is a marble sculptor in Vermont, so I go photographing quarries every summer. And but I assume that that's a negative print. Is that?
Yes.
Yes. So all the value structure is reversed. So it's titled Rock and Ice, and that ice is black ice. In this case, at the bottom of the frame. And I think that it just has a really nice rhythm to it. I like how that sort of organic shape at the bottom plays off of all the more linear cracks in the rock. I think it's a really wonderfully put together photograph. Lynn Wilson. All right. I drove by there today. I think I'm my way out.
What's that?
I drove by that today on my way out, except it was all in color. Again, it's sort of like, I'm going to get lost, you know. It feels like that when you're driving by there, and I feel you captured that in the photograph. That you could just sort of become intertwined amongst all those different trees as you sort of wander into this forest of...
That's pretty much what I did.
Yeah, and you came back out, that's good. Yeah. So I think you really captured that beautifully.
Thank you.
Yeah. And down on the bottom here, Abby Destes? I'm not sure, no? Boy, from the moment I looked at that photograph, it felt like some kind of flesh, skin, drawn across the surface of a body. You know, and it has those wonderful lines, and then it has the forms that sort of shape into that kind of animal-like form. And the color is just beautiful too. So I thought that's one that I have to talk about. Jack Simons. For adult second place here, shows Jack's picture. I talked about doing on-the-road class every summer, and I love being on the road. I sort of feel like your picture captures that, but does much more at the same time. What I really like about this photograph is that often the road, as you're traveling, feels separate from the landscape. But I feel like yours is sort of integrated beautifully into that landscape in a way that those lines could almost be like an aerial view of rivers, you know, or something I'm looking down from above into that landscape. So I think it captures the light, the time of day, through the tonality that it's printed. I think it does a really beautiful job of, you know, my getting to be there with you for a moment. Thank you. A couple on this opposite wall. Sandra? All right. Our best in show.
Where are you?
Yes. This has another title called Where Are You? So I think that matches what's going on in that photograph really well. You all need to get up close to this photograph and really peer into it because it wants to invite you in. And everything from the frame itself, which is like a doorway. That doorway of the frame leads you into the frame of the mat, leads you into the next frame, and once you enter through that doorway, there's another open door. And that open door then takes you to one more door that's more lit, but it doesn't give you any indication of where it might lead. And so again, that mystery is that thing that I really continually enjoy in photographs. And you know, it's not necessarily easy to make a mysterious photograph because photography can easily be a very literal medium. You know, it describes the world in great detail. And yet, if you can somehow create that detail into some kind of unknown, then I think you're really playing mystery, known and unknown off of one another really well. And so I just really like being invited into your photograph and wanting to know what comes next once I go beyond. So congratulations, wonderful photograph. Haley McCormick? I've seen lots of photographs made from airplanes, and I've made plenty of them myself. You know, so you know, once you're up in the air and you're looking out that window, the world is just magic. And sometimes the plane is there, and in this photograph we get the part of the plane, we get part of the window, and yet sometimes a photograph just speaks to you because it comes so close to experience. You know, and I feel like this photograph works that way for me, and at the same time challenges my sense of when it was made. I mean, it feels like it could have been made in the 1930s or 40s or something like that because of the tonality, the sort of fact that it's not perfectly crisp and everything. I really like that aspect of how that photograph makes me feel like I'm right there looking out the window. And I think that's probably one of my criteria for a lot of photographs in general, is they make me feel like I'm there, you know, exploring the world that that photographer is bearing witness to. So I think that photograph really does that well for me. Let's see, grab that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Andy Aldrich. I'm in love with photo history. I mean, I taught photo history for a number of years, and this photograph does a wonderful job of asking you to sort of read the text as well as read the photograph, and have them both go together in a way that talks about a period of photography when, you know, the Holy Nage and the Bauhaus school was sort of challenging what was then the contemporary way of making kind of straight photographs in the world, and saying, you know, there are lots of other ways to look at the world, whether it be, you know, above, below, abstractly. Let's play with things. And so that Bauhaus also sort of is all about design and design objects, and I think that you really put the piece together, everything from the photograph to the framing and detailing on the matting in a way that sort of speaks about that world. So, very nice. Yeah. There's so many good photographs I want to talk about more, but go to the ones here. So, as I was saying earlier, all of you who participate in this show are victims of my own personal biases. So, looking at all the work, I had to challenge my own prejudices, which is always good. You realize that that's coming into play here because there's so much good work, and I just have to let some of you know that I am not really attuned to commercial photography or wildlife photography that much. So those of you who are sort of part of that world, I recognize how good the work is, but it's sort of not in my wheelhouse in terms of what I personally like as work. So I just want to say that so that you understand that, wow, there's some really wonderful work in those genres here that I may not necessarily feel as attuned to. I chose down here at the bottom, Teresa Ray, is she here? For first place in the adult category. Well, I made notes to myself earlier when I was sort of looking at all the work, and I probably can't say what I wrote down as well, so I'm going to read what I wrote down earlier, because maybe that's closer to why I really like this piece. So it's a triptych. The subject, which I assume is her, is surrounded by piles of books with a typewriter that starts out sort of questioning what one might write when there's been all this wonderful work done in the past. But then in the center, just decide to make an effort, but the paper catches on fire a little bit. And by the third frame, the whole thing is on fire. And so for me, we create against the history that comes before us. It's not easy, but once we begin and catch fire, we burn a new path that flows out of the moment. And so for me, that's sort of why I think this is just such a strong piece. It just makes me think about how difficult that creative process is and what you have to go through to be a participant in it when you really decide to engage it. That can be a lifelong endeavor, because I think the great thing about art in general is that you never make the best piece you can ever make. There can always be something better. That's what keeps you going. Once you think you've made the best thing you can ever make, you might as well just stop. There's no reason to go on. Okay, let's keep going down this wall a little bit. So, I said I'm not really a wildlife appreciator. Okay, well, and there's a lot of great pictures of wildlife here. I don't know, maybe a bluebird isn't wild enough, but be wildlife. But I look at this photograph. Is Maria here? Maria has been dozing. What? Yes? No. Okay. Sometimes a photograph for me is just so beautifully seen, so direct, that it really encompasses the absolute nature of that thing. And for me, this picture does that with this bluebird. I mean, the color of the bird is also incorporated into the color of the background. I think she's also done a beautiful job of framing in a way that frame enhances those colors even more. It becomes iconic of that bird for me. And I don't know what else to say. I think that it's just, the picture below it is an absolutely beautiful photograph too. I mean, that's part of the hard thing of choosing. But I think for me, in the case of this one, Sometimes I think you feel like you can know something through a photograph and understand it better because it's so beautifully seen. And I guess that's why, for me, that's one of the best pieces in the show. Okay, there. Dandelion photograph here on the end, Jennifer Lane. Yeah, okay. I mean, there are two photographs of dandelions on this wall, and for me, the bottom one does a beautiful job of honoring that dandelion. I mean, it's directly seen. I get to sort of engage that starry quality that dandelions have that's just so amazing. But the reason I chose the one above is because it's just kind of emblazoned with energy. It's like somebody plugged that thing in and, you know, it's like static electricity and your hair just goes all over the place. It just has a wonderful energy to it. Everything from the dandelion itself to the kind of surrounding landscape that seems like it's somehow reflected, whether in water or I don't know what, but that's again that mystery that I sort of get drawn to. I think, let me see.
He's going behind you.
I know, right behind me. I'm saving those for last since it's the, you know, the building. Okay. Yes, so we're on to the building celebration here. I thought this was interesting because there are two competitors, each has two photographs, so it's sort of like the Larry Wright versus Don Gunther, is that right? Are either of them here? All right, so this was very difficult. It was like black and white versus color. I like both, so, you know, I'm not choosing on that. I really liked Ruth's last steps because I sort of feel like the title and the blood color of those stairs take me somewhere, you know, and the fact that they're ascending, you know, so I put all those things together and I really like that photograph an awful lot. But in the end, I chose Larry's picture on the bottom here. I like the way that, again, we're invited into the photograph through those doors, which he decided to include on the sides, into this currently unlit space that's a little bit dark, but seems to be waiting for the light. Those windows have crosses in them. That light is shining through the crosses. And right below that window on the left is a ladder. It's like, again, ascending again toward the light, toward that cross. I mean, I've always been really interested in symbols and photographs and sort of thinking about how symbols create meaning. And so those chairs are empty now. They're waiting for that light to come down and somehow inform them of whatever it is they're waiting for. So much other good work. I look around and it's just, you know, special to get to look at it all, see it. I wish I could talk about everybody's picture. I'll be here if you want to talk to me about your photograph at all, or photographs. If you have more than one, I'd be happy to do that. I love talking about photographs, looking at photographs, so please approach me and let's talk. Thank you very much.